Bride of the Monster from 1955, the Ed Wood classic, featuring one of Bela Lugosi's final performances, along with Tor Johnson and a giant rubber octopus monster. Oh yeah, let's do this. I'm going to offer a quick summary of this masterpiece, spoiler-free, and then offer some thoughts on this gem. Well, the story here is that the mysterious Dr. Eric Vornoff, played by legendary Bela Lugosi, he lives in a creepy old house out in a swamp with his massive bald servant, Lobo, played by Tor Johnson. And the two of them appear to be practicing diabolical scientific experiments with electricity and things like that somehow involve a large monster octopus. Well, when some of the locals try to take shelter from a storm, they pay a visit to the doctor and Lobo, and one of them ends up becoming a victim of the doctor's diabolical experiments, while the other one becomes octopus food. So apparently the scientist is up to some nefarious mischief here. So the headlines report that the monster strikes again, and Captain Robbins, played by actor Harvey B. Dunn, is at his desk with his bird when he gets the news. And soon Lieutenant Dick Craig, played by Tony McCoy, he shows up, and they discuss these recent disappearances in the swamp. Janet Lawton, played by Loretta King, also arrives, and now she's a reporter, and also Dick's fiancée, and she wants a scoop on this monster story. So she heads out to the swamp by herself, and she makes it there, but has a tire blowout and crashes into a tree right by a gigantic snake, and she passes out. But thankfully she is rescued by Lobo, who brings her to the house. Now, when Dr. Vornoff discovers her, he puts her into a hypnotic trance, with apparently some diabolical schemes in mind, it would seem. Well, Lieutenant Craig is concerned for Janet, and soon he is off to the swamp to try to rescue his sweetheart. But will he be too late to rescue the bride of the monster? Well, as I've said many times on my channel, I don't care if a film is considered bad or cheesy. It could be a low-budget Ed Wood, Bela Lugosi goodie like this one, and I'll still appreciate it and just kind of love it for what it is. Now, the thing about Bride of the Monster is that, it's goofy, but it feels like it has heart, and I feel like Ed Wood still delivered an over-the-top mad scientist story here, and, I respect him for what he did. Ed Wood saw himself as this successful Hollywood filmmaker, working with limited resources, and even though the final result of a lot of his films might look, comical, in this case, the giant octopus, but, he still puts a lot of enthusiasm into his work and, does the best he can with these limited resources. And honestly, the octopus effect wasn't that bad to me. Apparently, the footage came from a John Wayne film, The Wake of the Red Witch from 1948. I might have to check out that one. Now, Paul Marco, who played the cop Kelton, he would also appear in two other of Ed Wood's films, Plan 9 from Outer Space, the legendary 1959 classic, and also Night of the Ghouls. Now, Night of the Ghouls from 1959 was completed in 59, but due to financial issues, it wasn't released until 1985. I need to get these sequels on my list eventually, I know, but I feel like I've been in a lot of silly territory lately, so I might need to get back into some more serious crime noir or something like that. I don't know. So this was one of Bela Lugosi's final films, and I'll be honest, I just loved him in this role here. It's campy, it's over the top, but I still believe that he did a fine performance. Look, the entire film, I know it's Ed Wood cheesiness, goofy props, cheap sets, stock footage, and all that stuff. But yet, Bela plays it straight and takes the role seriously. And when you know the backstory of what was going on with him at this time, he was getting older. He wasn't doing well financially. He was struggling with drug addiction, and this was related to years of chronic pain. You watch it, and it kind of adds a bittersweet element to seeing him in this movie. I think that even at the heart of this cheesy film, he just shines out as he plays this crazy mad scientist character with so much gusto. If you watch a film like this one for anything, watch it for him and watch it for his performance. And watching a film like this, I've gone through some crazy, kooky, spooky films recently. One of these days, I'm going to assemble a list of what I consider to be kind of a fun Halloween season playlist of old movie watching, from this era. It can include things like the Universal Monster Classics, some of the giant gorilla movies, maybe a couple Leo Gorcey, East Side Kid monster films. But for sure it would include a gem like this one. So I'm going to build that list. So stay tuned. One of these days I'll put a video together of that. So to wrap up this quick review, Bride of the Monster, it was a hoot. Bela Lugosi gives, I thought, a surprisingly sincere, if silly, performance as the misunderstood scientific genius trying to make a race of superhumans or something, along with Lobo, his loyal assistant, a giant octopus. And, watch the film for Bela. He's the heart of this film. And I love that big fight scene near the end of the film. It's just a blast. This was peak Ed Wood wackiness. It's bizarre filmmaking, but it's a lot of fun. And if you just want a good chuckle from an old, cheesy movie, then this one is worth checking out.